Oh, yes. By the power of the internet, our curious minds come together. Is Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. This is the Opinionated Idiot live show, and I am your host, Brian. I want you guys to sit back, plug in, and be opinionated. How is everybody doing this evening? I am back live. Wow, lots of chatter, a lot of chatter going on, a lot of chatter. Mods in the house, regulars in the house, channel members in the house. Give you guys all a bell. Let's check out the chat really quick before we get on with tonight's show. Amber's pumping the crowd. Yes, we're going to do a giveaway tonight. We're going to give away 2 Target gift cards. When we get 1 to 50 likes and 1 to 100 likes tonight, I will give away the gift cards. It seems like Tuesdays nights are kind of weird for everybody. It's kind of a rough night to stream, but it'll grow. It'll grow. But we hope to get to that that 50 like and 100 like mark this evening. Mandy Joe's in the house. How are you, Mandy? Heather's here as well. We have Dr. Bob in the house. So the intro that I did was kind of a pre-warm up to kind of bring people into the stream. And then I hit my actual intro. I do have someone that I've actually paid to work on a brand new animated intro. I've done these intros myself, but I'm not a video editor, animator, and stuff like that. So I'm working with someone right now that's actually going to be putting together a nice slick intro for the show, and I'm very excited. But I'm probably going to do that 5-minute warmer because that allows people to come in and then be interactive on the show. So I may keep that in there. Beautiful Mind is in the house. How are you this evening? Because the show kind of grows as we go live. Teresa's here. How are you? We have O'Brien in the house. What's going on, buddy? Let's see. Firefly is here. Good evening, and good evening to you. We have Chosen Rosen, a channel member in the house as well. What's going on? And I think I've caught the chat. I've got everybody caught up. So tonight, I'll be honest with you, I had to take a step back from Idaho. My brain kind of melted since the last show. I had to take a little bit of a step back and do something different tonight. We're gonna do Jeffrey Dahmer tonight. But the reason that I need to take a step back is I want to analyze the data and the reactions of the video of the live stream, and then the video that I posted, the call with Subconscious Mouth. So I put that video up, and it's getting a lot of response. And in Thursday's show, I'm going to go back to Idaho and talk about some of the response. And it's been like a 50-50 split, and I just find it strange that a lot of people think that law enforcement has something to do. It's this big cover up, and I want to explore that. But tonight, I really need to pull my head out of that space because it just really was. It was too much to wrap my head around. But be sure on Thursday we will put together a good show around that as well. So what I want to do tonight is get into tonight's episode. What we're going to do is we're going to talk Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer. My Boston accent. My Dahmer. But let's do this. Let's give a little bit of a background on who Jeffrey Dahmer is, if people don't know. Jeffrey Dahmer, 1960 to 1994, was an American serial killer and sex offender, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer was responsible for the murders of 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. Most recent movie Netflix series. They had that Netflix series of Dahmer. I'll be honest with you. I tried watching like a couple of episodes of it, and I couldn't get into it. Just wasn't for me. But most of whom he lured into his home were where he drugged and strangled them. After killing the victims, Dahmer would also dismember the bodies and keep parts as trophies. He also engaged in necrophilia and cannibalism. If you want to look up necrophilia, go for it. I'm not going to explain it here. Dahmer was eventually arrested in 1991, and after one of his intended victims managed to escape and alert police, He was sentenced to life in prison in 1992, but was beaten to death by another inmate in 1994. What I'm going to talk about this evening is Detective Patrick Kennedy. And I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but he was actually a very key pivotal player in the investigation. He spent a significant time with Dahmer and actually got Dahmer to confess. He was the one that actually got the confession out of him. So I'll give you a little bit of background on Patrick Kennedy. Patrick Kennedy was a former Milwaukee police officer, homicide detective, and he spent several months engulfed in Jeffrey Dahmer's serial killer case that made headlines around the world in July in 1991. Because of the instant rapport he established with Jeffrey, he was able to draw a confession from a man who had murdered 17 young men. After spending several more years as a detective, he returned to college and went to teach criminal justice at 2 Wisconsin universities. He was featured in a documentary film, the Jeffrey Dahmer Files, in 2012. And sadly, Patrick Kennedy passed away in April of 2013. But, though he passed away, it's really good that he got out to tell his story and tell the story of his perspective of Jeffrey Dahmer. And if you have ever heard Pat talk before, he's a very, very good storyteller, very, very engaging. I'm very excited to play this audio tonight. It's not a video. Show that he was on. It was a radio show back in 2012. It was Opie and Anthony. And it's about a 40-minute segment and is brilliant. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy that. And then I want to do, as we top off the rest of the night, is I'm actually going to play courtroom footage of Patrick in the 91 trial, giving his testimony. We're probably going to play some of the victim impact statements and then also Jeffrey Dahmer's sentencing. So that will be all from his trial, all real footage. If you haven't seen that, I think you're going to really enjoy that tonight. So let's do this first. I have a kind of a segment from Inside Edition that they did back after Jeffrey was sent to prison, and it kind of recaps everything that we got into from the real life perspective, not from like a Netflix series. So let me bring that up. I'm getting very nasally at the moment. I have no idea why. So please deal with me there on that. But if I so happen, and I'm just going to let everybody know, if ads on YouTube must to get shut down because I'm playing this Inside Edition scoop or any of these courtroom clips, I will restart the stream. Just bear with me. You'll see it post up. Just go into that stream. I don't know what's going to happen. I know, like when I play Joe Rogan stuff, for some reason, I get booted off. But let's do this. O'Brien says it was just too heavy for me by the time I got to the second episode. You talk about the Netflix series. I couldn't get into it. I really tried. I watched like 3 or 4 of them and I couldn't get into it. So the way that it happens is if you are streaming content that's copyright protected, supposedly what happens is Netflix, I'm thinking Netflix, who are talking Netflix. YouTube will shut me down and then it's supposed to come back up as if that content is shut down. The algorithm kind of triggers it and realizes it, but it really never does. So if it ends up getting bounced out, I will restart the stream.
Must be so annoying. But with 3 clicks, you can install an ad blocker and you'll never see ads again.
You do Idaho content, you get 200 people watching. You do Jeffrey Dahmer content, you get 23 people watching.
Sensitize myself to it.
Evening, I'm going to give away a gift card. So
I don't know. I went to great lengths.
He is pure evil, but you'd never know it by looking at him. But when you hear him, that's another story. His killing field was Milwaukee, and he got away with murder for more than a decade. But how could any of this happen? For the first time ever, Nancy Glass is here inside the world of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Bill, when I sat down opposite Jeffrey Dahmer for this interview, I wondered what he would tell me, how hard it would be to get him to discuss his horrific crimes. What I found was that he was very forthcoming. He volunteered details that may be difficult to hear. I began by asking what he wanted from the men he picked up.
I had these obsessive desires and thoughts wanting to control them, to, I don't know how to put it, possess them permanently.
And that's why you killed them.
Right, right. Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me. And as my obsession grew, I was saving body parts such as skulls and skeletons.
Jeffrey Dahmer is recalling his monstrous past. Almost 2 years ago, in this little apartment in Milwaukee, police discovered the grisly remnants of one of the most horrible crime sprees in American history. Jeffrey Dahmer.
I remember that footage. I remember seeing that footage of them wheeling out the freezer back in 91. I remember that. I vividly remember that footage. That was all over the news back then.
An unassuming chocolate factory worker, would eventually confess that he had seduced, murdered, and dismembered 17 young men. He even ate some of his victims' body parts. He instantly became the center
Look
of
at reporters back
worldwide
then.
media.
Look how primitive everything was back then. It's crazy. And to think now, I mean, that guy was typing on a typewriter. It's crazy. I feel like it was yesterday. It's so funny.
Attention, a serial killer unmasked.
Thank you, Candy. Appreciate you.
There were protests and press conferences in Milwaukee as people tried to understand how this could have happened in their midst.
Good point.
How did Jeffrey Dahmer get away with murder after murder for 13 years? How did a boy born into a hardworking middle-class family turn into the worst kind of monster imaginable? In this exclusive interview, we put those questions to Jeffrey Dahmer himself. We met with him at the maximum security prison where he is serving his sentence of 999 years. For the first time, he talks about his crimes and gives us a chilling look inside the mind of a serial killer.
It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. When you depersonalize another person and view them as just an object for pleasure instead of a living, breathing human being, it seems to make it easier to do things you shouldn't do.
The reason why Jeffrey Dahmer was able to get away with his crimes was because of just what you are seeing here. Jeffrey Dahmer is intelligent and articulate. That is what makes him so frightening. But if you listen carefully to his words throughout this interview, you realize it is a thin disguise. You do sound, though, like the kind of person who could have said to himself, "This is wrong. I must stop."
I always knew that it was wrong, but after the first
Yeah, I believe they
killing
did.
was not planned.
Yeah, I believe they
I
did.
was coming back from the shopping mall back in '78.
I know they were.
I had fantasies about picking up a hitchhiker and taking him back to the house and having complete control and dominance over him.
The hitchhiker's name was Stephen Hicks. He was just 18. Jeffrey Dahmer.
I want to welcome in all the new people that are just coming in right here. Make sure to upvote. If we get 50 likes tonight, I'm going to give away a Target gift card. If we get to 100 likes, I'll give away another Target gift card.
Took him to his parents' house.
It's going to be an interactive game the way I do it. So
He dismembered the body and hid it in a drain pipe. It was Jeffrey Dahmer who gave those details to the police in his confession.
No one had a clue as to what was happening for over a decade.
During that time, Jeffrey Dahmer joined the army and was sent to Germany. He was eventually discharged for a drinking problem and returned to Ohio. 9 years after Stephen Hicks' murder, the killing began again. What happened to you in the 9 years in between that you were able to stop, that you were able to control yourself?
Just wasn't an opportunity to fully express what I wanted to do. There was just not the physical opportunity to do it then. And I started when I moved to Milwaukee in '81, I started reading pornography, going to the bookstores. Eventually that led to frequenting the gay bars. And then one time I brought this young man back to the hotel room, the Ambassador Hotel. Was just planning on drugging him and spending the night with him. Had no intention of hurting him. When I
Well,
woke up
Boomer,
in
you
the
might be able to
morning,
win.
he
Make sure
had a
you
broken rib
upvote.
here.
We got to get to 50 likes
was
this
heavily
evening.
bruised. Apparently, I had beaten him to death with my fists.
And you have no memory
I
of
have
it.
no memory of it. But that's what started the whole spree all over again.
Dahmer says he snuck the corpse of his victim, Stephen Toomey, out of his hotel room in a suitcase. Then he took it to his grandmother's house, where he cut up the body and put it in plastic garbage bags.
When you killed these men,
Exactly.
afterwards, were you repulsed? Were you upset?
No,
Magazine
at the
and
time,
books.
it was almost addictive. It was almost a surge of energy. I wouldn't have to worry
Thank you,
about
Terry. No
any of their
problem.
needs or anything. I just had complete control of the situation.
But Jeffrey Dahmer was out of control. The urge to kill had overpowered him. As police later learned, he wasn't satisfied with his victim's death. He wanted more.
Why did you photograph them?
It was my way of remembering their appearance, their physical beauty. I also wanted to keep something. If I couldn't
Hey, Christine,
keep
how are
them
you?
there with me whole,
Good to see you.
at least I felt that I could keep their skeletons.
No problem,
And,
Amber.
I even went so far as planning on setting up an altar with the 10 different skulls and skeletons.
And what was the purpose of the altar going to be?
As a sort of memorial, a point where I could, I don't know.
Yeah, an altar.
It's so bizarre and strange, it's hard to describe. A place where I could collect my thoughts and feed my obsession.
When the bodies were still in your apartment, there was no time when you would see them and say, this is grotesque.
Look at the hairstyles in '93. It's crazy.
What have I done?
It's so
There
bad.
were times, but the compulsive obsession with doing what I was doing overpowered any feelings of revulsion.
This man, with a quiet, almost shy demeanor, became a master
Well, welcome,
manipulator
Terry.
who
We
was
appreciate
able
you
to lure
being here.
strangers he met at gay bars to his apartment. He was even able to con the police into returning a 14-year-old boy to him after neighbors called 911 upset that the child
know.
was in the street, naked and bleeding. Dahmer convinced the police that he and the boy were simply having a lover's quarrel.
It's a intoxicated boyfriend of another boyfriend.
How old was this child?
It wasn't a child, it was an adult.
After the police left, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered that boy.
You know, here's the thing, and Amber's bringing up a good point. She says, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm more of a Ted Bundy than a Dahmer. I'm more into Ted Bundy than Dahmer. So this is all very interesting to me, and I'm so glad that you did this tonight, Brian. I think it's a great show. And the thing, like I explained before, is that, you know, there are going to be people, obviously, that just come here for Idaho content. But I have to do regular shows. I'm a live streamer, so I can't do Idaho 3 nights a week. It's not going to work, because when that case, and if that case ever gets settled, where do you go from there? And that's why I'm kind of giving a tip to my compadre YouTubers. You know, you got to start coming up with other content and putting on, a show if you're going to be a live streamer, because once Idaho is done and it's settled and it goes either way, what are you going to do? You have to talk about other content. So, I'm just being honest with everybody. This channel will not all be Idaho. It's never going to always be all Idaho. I know, like, that's a big thing right now. We have a lot of curiosity around it, but I can't do 3, 4, 5 nights a week of Idaho. My brain will be burned out. And you got to get off it a little while. So I appreciate all of you, because you all in this chat tonight care about me and care about being here. And, it's interesting. And that's why I want people to get used to this, because it's not going to be all Idaho. You have to do other material for your show. I want this show to turn into a show. I want it to grow. I want it to be bigger. I want this channel to be bigger. We have to talk about different things here. Yeah, I've been looking into Stephen Smith. I see your chat there. I want to do a show on that as well. That's probably going to be next week. But it's the thing is, I just want to be honest with everybody that I can't build this whole channel around Idaho, because it's not going to work. Where do you go from there? So you have to I guess I'm what am I doing tonight? I guess I'm this is the self-talk that I have with myself, and I'm just being honest with all of you. You can't do, I have to get this audience wrapped around that these are going to be shows. There's going to be different topics. So we're going to talk about different things. And if people choose to watch the live streams, they will. If they don't, then they don't. But, you'll see it. I find it just, tonight we got 25 peak, and I bet you on Thursday when I go back to Idaho, there'll be 200 in here. If I brought Subconscious Mouth back, there'd probably be 500. So, I'm just being honest with everybody. I'm just being honest. It's a show. We have to put on different things. So,
boy, Conorak Synthesum phone. This man says he had a near fatal encounter with Jeffrey Dahmer.
He wanted to take some picture of my back. He hit me with a rubber hammer on my neck.
He was lucky to escape, because by then the killing had become almost
yes, sir. It
routine.
has been since the
Before
beginning of
you
the
went out to
year.
pick
The
up
channel
the
is
man,
growing, my friend.
Was there any kind of ritual you went through?
I go to the nightclubs, drink, watch the striptease shows, and if I didn't meet anyone at the bars, I'd go to the bath clubs and meet someone there, offer them money, and we'd go back to the
100%.
apartment.
If I would have done Dahmer during the Netflix series, it probably would have had people here, but you can't just base your YouTube channel around one subject. You can't do it, because when that case settles in court, what are you going to do next? So you have to branch out and try different material. But we're going to do some Steve Smith stuff. Idaho will be back on Thursday. I got a show wrapped around that. So I'll drop the link after the chat, and I'll tell you, there'll be 200 people in here on Thursday. You guys know how it is. But let's get through this. We're going to have a good show tonight.
I'd have the
they did do a good
mixture
yeah,
already prepared.
They did do a good job.
Person would drink it, fall asleep, and
oh, it's no problem, Christine. Don't worry about it.
Strangled.
Watching the movie Exorcist 3 was also part of his ritual. It put him in the mood for murder.
How strange was that he watched Exorcist 3? It's just bizarre.
I felt
really
so
into that.
Hopelessly evil and perverted that I actually derived a sort of pleasure from watching that tape.
Did you like feeling evil?
No, I didn't. But I had tried to overcome the thoughts.
Yeah,
and
he did.
It worked for a while, but eventually I gave in.
While Jeffrey Dahmer may say things today that make it seem like he understands what went on in his mind, he does not. All he can do is tell you what happened, but he cannot stop whatever it is that drove him to kill in the first place.
Do you still feel those same urges? Do you still feel that compulsion, that obsession?
I wish I could say that it just left completely, but no, there are times when I still do still do have the old compulsions.
Jeffrey Dahmer says as time went on, his mind became more and more warped, and yet he was clever enough to continue to elude police and lure young men to his apartment. We should warn you, the details are very
All right, we got a trigger
I
warning
started
here.
having these obsessive thoughts when I was about 15 and 16, and they got worse and worse.
What were your fantasies about?
They were sexual fantasies of control, power, complete dominance. They became reality.
Was
You
there
think
pleasure
so?
in that fantasy?
There was excitement, fear, pleasure, all mixed together.
Jeffrey Dahmer fulfilled his fantasies by murdering and dismembering 17 young men. In time, his desires became more extreme, his deeds more grotesque. Listen to him talk about the most unnatural things in the most matter-of-fact of ways. That's when you realize that none of it has touched him.
I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started, eating of the heart and the arm muscle. It was a way of making me feel that they were a part of me. At first, it was just curiosity, and then it became...
His father stood by him. His father, there's actually another interview out there where they had his father and him together, and they do kind of a joint interview when Jeffrey was in prison. Maybe we can bring that up sometime and watch it.
I tried to keep the person alive by inducing a zombie-like state.
Yeah, it's crazy.
By injecting first dilute acid solution into their brain or hot water. And it never did completely work.
Could someone like you be stopped? Could you be helped?
No, I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any satisfaction.
He became so warped by his evil impulses that he even took a victim's head with him to work at the Ambrosia Chocolate Factory.
I kept the mummified head and skull of one of the victims in a carrying case in my locker at work.
Were you almost flaunting it?
Yes, but that's how strong the compulsion was. That's how bizarre the desire was. I wanted to keep something of the person with me.
Jeffrey Dahmer
It's crazy how calm he is talking about all this. It's insane.
exhibited some disturbing behavior early on. He began drinking heavily as a teenager, dropped out of college,
Absolutely,
was arrested
Dr. Bob.
for indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and fondling a 13-year-old boy.
Ugh.
Tragically, one of his murder victims would be that boy's brother.
Do you know what started it? Was there any kind of incident that you can remember?
To this day, I don't know what started it. And the person to blame is sitting right across from you. That's the only person. Not parents, not society, not pornography. I mean, those are just excuses.
His
I'll
macabre
take a look. Hang
13-year
on.
crime spree finally ended when this man, Tracy Edwards, brought the police to the infamous apartment. Like the others, he had gone there with the promise of money.
He was listening to my heart because at a point he told me he was going to eat my heart at that point. I hit him and I ran.
What was
He is still alive. He's 86 years old. He's still alive. Dahmer's father is still alive. He's 86 years old.
the turning point for you that made you suddenly realize that you had done something terribly wrong, something you should be sorry for?
It was the night of the arrest. I have
Boomer, the way that you can promote this channel and get it to grow is make sure come in and join the live streams Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then anytime I drop a video, to go on and interact with that video. That will help push this on. This channel has grown tremendously over the last 2.5 weeks. And I thank all of you for being here. That's the way we got to do it. We work together. We'll get this channel out there. Thank you.
During the 6 hours before the last victim ran out of the apartment. I heard a knock on the door, and the police were there with the last victim.
Thank you.
They asked me where the key was to the handcuffs. I was
Just to let everybody know, we had 30 people watching. Once we get to 50 likes tonight, 50 likes, I'm going to do a giveaway for a Target gift card. If we get to 100 likes tonight, I'm going to give another one away. And it's going to be an interactive game, so it's going to be really fun. So
my mind was in a haze. I sort of pointed to the bedroom, and that's
Thank you.
where they found the pictures. And they yelled, "Cuff him!" And I was handcuffed, and it was just.
And you're going to hear Patrick Kennedy when I play the audio next. He is the arresting officer that went to Dahmer's apartment, and he's going to tell the whole story, what led him there and what happened. And I'm telling you, you're going to really love this the segment that he gives. His storytelling is so compelling.
The realization that there was no point in trying to
we'll play a game.
hide my actions anymore. The best route was to help the police identify all the victims and just make a complete confession.
When it was revealed that most of the victims were Black or homosexual, people in Milwaukee were incensed. Many felt that was why he went after them and why the police didn't seem to care when their families reported them missing.
10 of your 17 victims were Black. Were they racially motivated?
It was not racially motivated. It was not sexual preference. It was just to find an obsession with the best-looking young man I could find.
While you just heard him say that his sexual
you're going to hear
preference
all
had
about
nothing
that.
to do with the killings, he has not come to terms with his homosexuality.
Never understood it. There was no use trying to fight it because I couldn't rid myself of it. It was too powerful and persistent.
Do you dislike it?
Yes, it's caused a lot of problems for me. A lot of conflicts and unanswered questions.
The conflicts remain with him, and so do his compulsions. But in
They
prison,
did drop
he
the ball.
finally cannot act on his savage
100%.
desires.
If you were out on the street now, would you still be committing the crimes?
Probably. If this hadn't happened, there's no doubt I probably would be.
Psychopath.
I can't think of anything that would have stopped me.
All right, that is kind of just to catch everybody up to speed to, what was the overall factor in the case, how they caught him. So I just want to give a little bit of a background in that. What we'll do now is we're going to play the segment from the Opie and Anthony show. This is with Detective Patrick Kennedy. They were out actually doing a media tour because he was in the film documentary, The Dahmer Files, that came out in 2013. And I encourage everybody, if you haven't seen that, I've watched it. It's really good. And it's more of a documentary type of movie. But Pat was out with the director of that movie. And I think his name was Christopher Thompson. I think he was the director of the movie. They were doing a media tour and stopped by at the time when Opie and Anthony were on satellite radio still, and they had their show, came by and did like a 40-minute spot with them. And I cannot wait to play this because it is so compelling, and Pat was such a great storyteller. I think you guys are all going to really enjoy that. But before I get over there, if anybody hasn't already, smash that like button, please. And once we get to 50 likes tonight, I'm going to give away one of these Target gift cards. And if we get to 100, I'm going to give away another Target gift card. And we're going to play an interactive game with all of you so I can pick the winner. But let's pull up that segment and play through. Excuse me. So this is audio. It's not video. I do apologize, but we can sit back and listen here.
James Thompson. Yeah.
I think Chris did the documentary, but Patrick was the detective that actually, after Dahmer was arrested, he actually sat with Dahmer and I believe got the confession and really, really spoke to him extensively.
Okay.
Before he was, known by everyone. So he actually, it's very, very interesting to hear him talk.
You could just tell who the cop is by the name.
Yeah.
Detective Patrick Kennedy.
Yeah.
Nice
he sounds
Irish
like a
guy,
cop, right? Who's
nice
in there?
Irish cop.
Who got the confession? Pat Kennedy.
Pat Kennedy did.
Pat did.
Hey, Kennedy got it again.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Pat Kennedy don't fuck around. Yeah, but it was really, really interesting to hear him discuss this relationship with Dahmer.
Yeah.
We'll talk to them next. Might have
They're going to talk about that. They're going to talk about that. Wait, this is a really great interview. I think you're going to love
run
it.
out of time for today because we have a Scott and Todd song parody we were going to do today. And we'll just mention it. Dan Marino has a love child.
What?
Cool. I'm going to speed up
What?
to when Pat comes in.
Love that segment.
What's the theme?
It's the documentary filmmaker.
All right.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, there's no question who the cop is.
We
of
can
these
figure
guys.
out which one is the cop and which one is the documentary filmmaker. Holy retired
detective. Yes.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
He still carries a gun.
Hi, guys.
Indeed.
Just these pythons.
Wow, look at that,
gentlemen.
Look at that mustache.
I know that.
How long
is a
have you
good
had the
one.
mustache?
59 years.
Yeah, you're one of those guys, right? You're one of those guys who refuses to shave it.
I've shaved it a couple times with my wife. Are we on there?
Oh
Yeah, we are.
Isn't that amazing? We just start the show.
Yeah,
like
we'll do
I've
all the other
shaved it
stuff in a
few
minute.
times when my wife wanted to feel like she was with somebody else.
that. Oh, there you go.
He's gonna talk shit about his wife, and he had to ask you guys, and then he's going to anyway.
Yeah, we're on the air. Wait a minute. That would fit in great also during the gritty 70s and 80s.
Right.
Something like that, right?
Very impressive.
Yes.
That's a big mustache. That might be the biggest
great, man.
mustache
Hey,
I've
I
ever
like it.
the time
seen.
I saw the movie,
Yeah.
was down at South by Southwest. I didn't watch it, and
Right.
it was on like a 50-foot screen.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
you
a
know
lot.
what it's like to hear yourself or to
Yeah.
see yourself.
Yeah, we
So
love
all of
it.
a sudden I
We
saw
love our
like
voices.
this 50-foot mustache. I'm
Yeah, that's a
gonna
lot
go
of.
home and trim my mustache.
Nah, it's a good look for you.
Works. It
You're
works.
Big giant of a guy too. Fuck. How
Yeah.
tall are you?
I used to be 6'7.5", but after my knee operation, I think I'm only 6'7".
All right, let's do this. We got 32 people watching. If we can get 30 likes in here right now, I will give away one of these Target gift cards. I'm going to give away a free gift card if you just get to 30 likes.
Oh, wow.
Lost a little bit.
You don't realize that
Too
when you're
bad,
watching a
Nate's coming
guy,
out of Milwaukee.
Oh, Jesus. No, you're right.
guy sitting there being interviewed. Like I watched the documentary. It's like you don't realize like you're a big imposing
Yeah.
figure.
Boy, you must have had a ball before these cameras and everything that law enforcement has to deal with now. Oh, boy, I bet you could tell a spin a yarn or two.
We know some of the old school guys.
Oh, I love
So
talking
you don't
to the
have
old
to say
school.
anything. We know.
Old
We know
school
you've
did-
seen.
We got 30 likes. We got 30 likes. So as promised, I said I would give away one of these Target gift cards. So now I have to make it very clear to everybody out there. The only way I can give this to you is I have to mail it to you. So you have to be able to give me your mailing address. Okay. I don't want anybody to participate if you don't want to give me your mailing address. The way that's going to work is I'm going to use a deck of cards. I have a large deck. I'm going to pull one of the cards and put it on my desk right here in view. It'll be your job in the chat to throw out what you think the suit is and the number. Okay. And once I get the first person that does it in the chat, they will win. If you do not want to give me your address, do not participate because I have to mail this to you. And then the way that we're going to verify it is you will have to email me and I will have you do something to verify who you are. Okay. So let's do this. Let me take the cards out. There's 52 cards in the deck. I think I get all the jokers out of there. Jokers are going to be out. No jokers. No jokers. No jokers. Jokers are out. All right. Let me just kind of shuffle these up a little bit. And then when I say go, you guys can start picking. All right. I'm going to take this card out here. I'm not going to show it to the screen. I'm going to hold it here. Deck of cards are here. All right, ready? Whoever wants to participate, go. Start throwing your suits out there. And I'll watch the chat. Keep going. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. Not there yet. Nope, no winner yet. It's the full house. That's funny. Oh, stop. Stop. We got a winner. We got a winner. We got a winner. Stop. We got a winner. Let me just verify. Let me verify. Okay, we have a winner. And the winner is Army Mom of Two. It was the Ace of Hearts. Congratulations. You won a $10 Target gift card. And let's give her a round of applause there. Congratulations. So what you need to do is, I need to stop cheering. What you need to do is I'm going to have you email me. I'm going to drop my email address in the chat. Claim your prize. I'm going to do another one tonight, guys. If we can get to, we'll do 50 likes tonight. If we get to 50 likes, I'll give away another one. So there's my email address, theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com. Mom, what was it? Mom Army of Two. Just email me. Let me know. Put in the subject line, I won. And then I'll just have you do something to confirm that it is you. And then I'll get the gift card out to you. So congratulations. And yes, thank you for your service. I do appreciate that. We do appreciate everything. So congratulations on that. Let's go back. That was fun, right, guys? That was fun. And we'll go back to, and I have more gift cards to give out this week. So we'll go back to the audio here.
Detectives.
Yeah. See, people are missing out.
Some of the stuff that might have been.
Everybody that's not watching tonight's missing out.
Not quite on the books. You learn that from the streets. Yeah, sometimes, you know what? You don't even have to take the perp back to the station house. You can just deal with them. A little street justice. A little wood shampoo, they call it, right? Yeah.
Well, you get more with honey than vinegar. But yeah, a lot of times you let the guy go because they were useful to you later on.
There you go. Exactly. God, I love the old school guys.
God, they had to play it. They knew how to play in the streets, huh? Wow.
Yeah. How did you stumble onto becoming a part of the Dahmer case? Like you were just a regular working detective.
Right. The way they run it in Milwaukee is they just have the homicide units, and the next stiff up that you get it. So I walked in. I was on shift. I walked in that morning.
Is that what they call it? The next stiff up?
Well, the next we used to have a saying in Milwaukee that our day begins when yours ends. So. I know it's blue humor.
Phone lines are open, 774-855-9400 if anybody wants to call, talk about Dahmer, talk about anything. Just if you want to pick up, give me a call.
See that on a t-shirt. You can sell some t-shirts with that.
Nice. But in Milwaukee, it was it's just the next unit that was up. And my unit was up. I just walked in, and before I could even get to my desk, about 10 to 12 at midnight, the lieutenant called me over and said, I got a couple excited cops on the phone that said they got a head in the refrigerator.
Wow.
And he didn't even really believe it. This guy was Lieutenant Roosevelt Harrell. He was the highest ranking black officer on the department at the time. Milwaukee had gone through a lot of racial problems with the police department. Totally an excellent guy, though. And he said, it sounds like bullshit to me, Pat, but go check it out. So on the way up there, I was with this young Polish kid from the South Side, Mike Dubas, and we were making jokes. And let's not lose our head over this investigation. And it was, it just seemed so weird.
Had you met Dahmer at this point yet or no?
No, never met him before.
And I want to ask, just because you look like a young guy, how young were you back then?
20 years ago, I was 38 years old.
Wow.
So I was young. I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
I'll be 59 next month.
So you were on the job for a while by the time you're 38.
I walked the beat for several years and hacked the squad for about 9 years.
Saving the world, full of piss and vinegar.
Well, I was married with 3 kids. I was trying to raise a family.
Okay. Or that.
And it was a solid job with benefits.
All right, or that, whatever.
Health insurance,
I get you.
Stability.
Did you see Q&A with Nick Nolte?
I did.
Oh, I feel like I'm sitting next to Mike Brennan. It makes me so happy. Big guy with a mustache, old school.
So you're making the jokes on the way over. We know you cops like to make jokes because it's
it is
lightens up the mood a little bit.
Personnel.
I'll turn it off because the only reason I had it on was when I do Idaho. There's like 200 people in here and the chat goes too fast. I'll take care of that. Hang on. And there's not that many people here tonight, so I can turn that off. It's just hard sometimes when we do that with Idaho. It's just really, really tough. All right, slow mode is off, guys. If it fills up, maybe we'll bounce that back up. But okay, we'll keep playing through here.
Two are like that.
Yeah,
It's
you
amazing.
got it.
But it was a very hot, sticky night. I know it gets hot here too, but it gets real muggy in Milwaukee
Mm-hmm.
too. And it was one of those nights where it didn't drop below like 85 and 100% humidity. And the foyer of this building is a big glass enclosed foyer. And as soon as you walked in there, you could smell the dead body.
Wow.
And I looked at Mike. I said, "Wow, maybe this ain't going to be bullshit." Because, actually, I took off my coat then because certain fibrous coats, if you're around real dead body, it'll seep into the
It's like
clothing.
Chinese food or something where you smell it when you leave the restaurant.
Jesus.
Was he? Were there other people living in that structure?
Oh yeah, it was a 3-story, 36-unit rectangular
The hell's
building.
with people?
Yeah, that's why I asked. They did what?
Well, actually, several people had complained
About the
over
smell?
the months about the smell, and to the building super who I talked to, and when he went to talk to Jeffrey Dahmer about it, he had a 55-gallon fish tank, and he told him that he went to Chicago for the weekend, and the power went out at his fish tank, and all his fish died, and he left them around there, and that's what was causing the smell. And he actually showed him the plastic garbage barrel that he was using to emulsify people with the muriatic acid. And the guy said, "Well, just get rid." He said, "That's where I put all the fish." And he said, "Well, just get rid of that."
Oh my God.
So, and actually, the night we went in there, very clearly displayed were all kinds of solvents, cleaners, air fresheners. The 57-gallon tank that he had the 4 bodies in, he had by a window in his bedroom with a fan behind it blowing the.
Wow,
blowing it out.
man, this
So-
is some calculated stuff.
Oh yeah, he said that the smell was always a problem. That was what he said.
Just couldn't get rid of that fucking
But-
stench.
But how were you guys tipped off that there were heads in this place at this point?
Well, what had happened is
Hmm.
his last victim, he had run out of the Halcyon tablets. And Jeffrey Dahmer was an alcoholic. He was always gassed. And he thought he could drink this guy under the table. And he said they put down a bottle of 151 rum. They were both gassed. And he had offered this guy $150 to come home for oral sex and to watch movies and to take some photographs of him, which he was. Let's not forget that everybody who went to his apartment went there willingly.
Right,
He didn't drag nobody there. He mostly offered them money for sex and photographs. Well, he had taken a couple photographs of this guy in his whitey tighties, and then he wanted to get a bondage shot of him. He got the one handcuff on him, but when he tried to put the other handcuff on it, I talked to the guy, said it just didn't seem right. And I told him, no, I don't want to do that. And Jeff's thought to me was that he had ran out of the Halcyon tab, so he thought he'd get this guy drunk, and once he got him handcuffed, then he could just strangle him.
What's a Halcyon tablet?
Halcyon was a very strong sleeping pill that came out in during the Gulf War. If you remember the first Bush, the good Bush, not Shrub, he actually took it because he couldn't get to sleep during and it was a brand new sleeping tablet, and it was marketed that it was the kind of pill that where you didn't just get drowsy, but you took it and you're out for a while. So
would he slip it into their drinks?
Yes. When he knew he was going to kill somebody, he would crush up 5 to 7 of them and had them in a cup.
Oh,
home.
man.
So when he brought the guy home, if he knew he was going to kill this guy and keep this guy, the first thing he would do is offer him a drink, and he would pour him a rum and coke.
Holy shit.
And once you drank that,
you're out.
Why did he get
Yeah.
lazy and not have that on hand?
Well, he was one of the first guys to do what we call doctor shopping. He was a third shift worker at the chocolate factory, and he went to several different doctors and told them, I can't sleep at night. And I found this Halcyon. Actually, there was an article in Time magazine about Halcyon in 1991, and that's where he heard about it.
Wow.
So he asked about it, and the article was about Bush taking it. And so he'd ask for it by name, and there were several doctors that gave him pills, but he just ran out of them.
Okay, I got you.
So he brings this guy home. He does not have him pilled up, and he said the guy instinct kicked in and said there's something wrong with him.
Well, he didn't want it. Said he just felt weird about it. So when he wouldn't do it, then he and Jeffrey got into a fight. And during the fight, Dahmer picked up a knife and he ran out the apartment, ran down the hall, ran out into the street, and down the block was a couple Milwaukee coppers on a.
The thing that I enjoy about this is the detective's account firsthand. So everything you've heard, he was doing this, he was doing that. He's telling you the firsthand story. So this is not bullshit. It's from the cop that arrested Dahmer. So he knows what happened.
Completely different assignment. So here it is, 11:30 11:30 at night, 11:15 at night on a hot, muggy night. And this guy pounds on the window. The two cops look at, here's a black male with just whitey-tighty underwears on and handcuffs. And the first thing they thought was, hey,
To
they
beat
got
him
on the
over the
air and
head
they said,
with
is
a
anybody missing any equipment? Like, it's very embarrassing when a prisoner gets away from you. It ruins your reputation. But when nobody answered, they got out and said, hey, what the fuck's going on? And he said, well, I met this guy and we were fucking around and he wanted to take some pictures and I didn't want to do the bondage and we got in a fight and he pulled a knife on me and I'm out here. And I said, well, do you want to press charges? Let's take him. He goes, no, I really don't want to press charges. I just want this.
And it's so interesting of how things were back then with laws. If you heard this particular situation today, people would probably be getting arrested. And they allowed this guy to go back into the apartment. Asked him, did you want to press? Oh, no, I just want to get, my stuff back. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Handcuff off. Well, the two coppers got out, but we had Smith & Wesson handcuffs.
Oh,
and Dahmer had a different type.
Because he had
So-
different handcuff keys. They had to go back to
So the
Dahmer's
key
house.
didn't work.
Oh, God.
So they
damn.
followed the guy back, knocked on the door. Jeffrey Dahmer opened the door and he was gassed. And they even said to him, look, we don't care what you freaks are doing in there, but just give us the handcuff key. Well, he kind of fumbled around, and like most cops, they just bogarted their way in. And he kind of fumbled around, so they started looking for the key, but there was no key because he always got the handcuffs back by cutting off their hands.
Oh, my God. Shit.
So
there ain't no key, Ralph. You
One,
got to boot your way out.
Wow. He got them off by cutting off their fucking hands.
So the one officer went into the bedroom and found the top drawer open a little bit, and there was all these Polaroid photographs in there. So he picked up a photograph. He saw the photograph of a dismembered and cut open body.
Wow.
And he told me, he said, the first thing I thought was, where did this guy get these autopsy photographs from? But he said, the more I looked at the photograph, the more I realized the room in the photograph was the room that I was standing in.
Oh, God.
So he said to his partner in the next room, it was an efficiency apartment, like one main room, a bathroom, and a little bedroom. He said, you better handcuff this guy. And when he said that, all hell broke loose, and there was a big fight. And these were
really?
Two big, strong Milwaukee cops. One 6'4", about 220, the other about 6'1", and kind of barrel-chested. The taller guy was kind of a nice guy, but the other guy, I wouldn't call him an assaultive officer, but the kind that would respond in kind. And
how big was Dahmer, by the way?
He was a good-sized man. He was 6'1", about 175 pounds. Good-looking guy. The night that I arrested him, I had to take all his clothes off, so I got to see him buck naked. There wasn't an inch of body fat on the guy. I mean, he was
I hear humans
not
are lean.
a muscular guy, but not unmuscular as well. So yeah, these two officers had a hell of a fight with this guy.
Wow.
When I got there, well, after they finally got him corralled, and like any place, it's not good to fight with the police. So after they finally got him corralled and handcuffed, and they had him handcuffed the way we used to do it, where you hog-tied people, where you would handcuff behind their back and cuff their legs and put them on their stomach and then cuff your legs to your hands. But, we ended up killing everybody like that. They found that people that were big or that were under some kind of drugs, a lot of guys died in that
Suffocated in
position.
some way, shape, or form.
So they changed that. Before that, when I first came on, they taught us to choke people out.
Yeah, the choke hold and choke them out.
Some people never came back. So they went from that to this other one, and now they don't do that anymore. But at the time, that was standard. And if you saw a prisoner like that, you knew that some bad shit had happened.
Yeah.
So when I got there, he was bleeding from the mouth and had a massive rug burn from rolling around on the rug. And these two officers, I mean, one was outside the door. His hair was sticking up. His Sam Brown was to the side. He was all disheveled. It was hot night, so he was dripping with sweat.
Shit.
And I walked up and said, Ralph, what's going on? He goes, go look in the refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
So then I walked into the apartment, and there was Dahmer on the ground, and he was crying. I mean, he was kind of
knew
whining.
it was over, Johnny.
And the other,
once that fridge door fucking suction
the
sound
bigger
came.
the bigger officer had his knee in him, and I said to him, I said, Ralph, what is going on? He looked the same. His eyes were real big, and he was sweating. He was wiping his face with a hanky. And I said, what's going on? He goes, just look in the refrigerator. So that's when I went and opened up the refrigerator. And once you opened it up, it was an apartment-sized refrigerator. It was empty on the inside, except on the door there was condiments, A1 sauce, Liam Perrins, mustard, and ketchup.
Not much
But in
different
the
than most
middle,
guys.
the only thing that was in the middle of this
Right.
refrigerator in the back was an open box of Arm & Hammer baking soda. And I thought, my mom used to do that to kind of freshen the
Yeah.
and a box containing the head of a black male. And it was freshly severed and fresh, and the eyes and the mouth like that.
Wide
So
open.
when I opened it up, my partner said I backed up to him and screamed like a girl. But
Oh shit.
I didn't, but I do remember thinking, man, I got to get the fuck out of here. I mean, it was really, I knew I wasn't in danger,
Horrible.
but it's so irrational fear to see something like this.
Yes.
And I'd only been working the homicide unit for about a year, so I knew, hey, if you walk out of here, that's the end of your career. But,
Right. Yeah.
So that's how it started.
Wait. You said there were
Wow.
2 though. Where was the other one?
The 2 cops.
No, you said there were 2.
So you got to keep in mind, Opie and Anthony is a very free and open. When their show was around, it's a very free and open platform. They're a comedy show, so they said some pretty racy stuff on their show. I mean, they dealt with politics and race, and that's what you were getting if you pop culture. It was a dirty, raunchy show, kind of like Howard Stern back in the day. So that's why you're hearing jokes and you're hearing material like that if it's upsetting anybody. But that was the content back then.
Heads, no.
No, in the refrigerator, just one head. Now we
But
found.
I wanted to play this in interest of Pat telling the story, because he's such a great storyteller, and it's unfortunate that he's passed away.
In a little freezer, we found 7 other frozen heads.
Okay.
And we found 3 skulls.
Right.
So Pat took Dahmer downtown, and then the medical examiner, who we also interviewed for the film, Dr. Jeffrey Jensen, sort of came in with his guys and started taking out all the rest of the evidence, and that's when the size and the scope of
if you think this is humor, you should hear how nurses talk. My mom worked in a hospital for over 20 years, and just emergency room and trauma nurses, the way that they talk, it's to deal with stress in those certain ways. And cops are like that too. I know a lot of police officers, a lot of great police officers, that they use that type of thing because of the stuff that they deal with. And it's just a way to deal with stress. We all do it. Believe me, I do it my profession as well too.
Of the scene actually
Right.
I left my partner there. Harrell showed. Well, first I said, don't anybody touch anything.
Yeah.
We got a boss down there, and he said, take him downtown, Pat. So my partner actually got the shittier end of the deal. He spent the next 24 hours, discovering penises and heads and
It's crazy.
All in the
skulls.
apartment.
It was,
Where was all that stuff?
it was
in general?
all in there, right?
And
But
Pat,
where?
they're telling
Like,
us Pat has 5 minutes because these guys have TV.
What?
Wow.
These guys have TV
Are
to
you
promote.
kidding me?
Yes.
Oh my God. This is
I literally was hoping
fascinating.
you could stay till 10:30.
TV.
They have
I
TV.
love this stuff.
Okay.
hey, can we stay?
They're
Yeah,
telling us they
right.
have TV.
We got it. This
Wow.
is a really big radio show. You should stay right here. I'm telling you
Yeah,
right
but
now,
this-
sir.
Oh,
The,
man.
You want people to see this film, you stay right the fuck where you are.
When you met Dahmer, I have to ask you that.
Yeah.
What was the first? How did you actually? You're meeting with him, with this guy who I don't think you understood the scope of what a psycho he was at that moment, right?
No, but I'd never seen. I'd had your run-of-the-mill murder, and I've had my run-of-the-mill interrogation and confession, but this was different from the beginning because, well, first of all, they beat the snot out of him because you just don't fight with the police. So as we were taking him from the apartment to the paddy wagon, he was already, you could see, dejected and
How dare you?
so I
How
decided I
dare
would
you.
take a kind of a lighter tact with him. And I shook his hand, called him Pat. I went and got a cup of coffee and cigarettes. And the first thing I said to him was, so what can you tell me about that in the refrigerator? And his first statement to me was, you're not going to let him beat me anymore.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, no one's going to deal with you anymore but me. And I had him in that little 9x11 room. And actually, when I told the cop to take the cuffs off, and the cop said, Pat, you don't want to take the cuffs off this guy because I fought with him and he's no pussy. And I said to him, if we take the cuffs off, if you promise you behave, I'll get you a coffee and cigarettes and we can relax. And he just shook his head. But the first words he said after they took the cuffs off, the cop said, I'll be right outside the door, Pat. As soon as he closed the door, he said, you're not going to let him hit me anymore. I said,
Oh,
"No."
wow. He really didn't want to get hit anymore.
So
huh?
it was the old good guy,
Oh.
bad guy from the beginning. So I decided to be the good guy.
But you knew had to taking the cuffs off you because you were a 6'7" guy, so you weren't worried about him.
Yeah, I wasn't really worried about it. But I mean,
Yeah.
But
you never know.
I never interrogated a guy with cuffs on. It's just not a good thing.
He didn't want to fuck
make
up his suit.
Yeah. Comfortable.
So you take the cuffs off him and you sit with him.
Yeah, then I introduced myself to him and I said, I'm the one who's going to be dealing with you on this. I said, but before we get started, do you smoke or would you like a cup of coffee? And he looked up at me and said, yeah, I'd like both. So I went, got one and came back. And when I asked him about the head in the refrigerator, he said, I don't feel it's in my best interest to talk about that.
Oh.
So I said, well, we don't have to talk about it. We can talk about other things.
How about the Lee and Perrin? Why don't we start there? And we'll work our way up to the head.
No, he was very, he says, what's going to happen to me if I don't talk to you? So I kind of explained to him the booking process and he seemed to understand it because he had been arrested before for lewd and lascivious. And, but then he asked me, can I get my own cell? And I knew then that he knew about the bullpen. If you know about any bullpen, it's just a shithole where, you know, everybody and their brothers in there. It's disgusting. And he didn't want to go there. So I could pick up on that right away. I said, no, it's a Friday night and the bullpen is
There you
packed.
go.
I said, there's no way you're going to get a single cell.
Little leverage.
I said, if you stay here with me, we can talk about, and we did talk about things for about 3.5 hours before he crapped out to me. So
What stuff did you talk about that had
well,
nothing to
I
do
picked
with?
up that he was an alcoholic, and
Right.
I myself, like most coppers, suffer from old John Barleycorn, and I had my own battles with it. So I was knowledgeable about AA. Kind of 12-stepped him, but we talked for about an hour about religion. He grew up in a very strong Lutheran religious family. We talked about homosexuality. We talked about whether there was a God or not. He loved his family, especially his grandmother. So for about 3.5, and to tell you the truth, if you talk to most homicide detectives, the typical homicide confession takes about 3.5 hours before they start to get into that defeated position and start to tell you what happened. So it was right about that. But every time when he finally did, he said, if I tell you, you'll be famous. I said, oh, come on, man. I've seen a bunch of shit before. This ain't going to be anything. And then he said, but if I do tell you, you'll hate me and you won't want to talk to me anymore. I said, no, I'll stick with you. So he goes, well, if I am going to tell you, I'm going to start at the beginning. And he told me about his first homicide back in Bath, Ohio, when he was 18, 13 years ago. Wow. So I put my pen down. I'm listening to him. And then he talked about going to the Army in Ohio and getting kicked out and then moving here to Grandma's where he started killing again. And when he got to about his second or third, I said, well, take a break. I went to get some more coffee. And the lieutenant came out to me and said, is he talking? I said, well, yeah, he's talking, but I said, I don't think he's going to help us. I said, he's told me he's killed like 5 or 6 people, and he hasn't even told me about the guy in the refrigerator yet. You know, I said, I think he's a bullshitter. And he goes, no, your partner called. They found 11 heads and they got penises. So I went back in, I took my pen out. I said, okay, let's start over again. Let's start from the beginning.
It's important to say when you were talking to him at that point, you just
I
thought
didn't believe
there was the one head in
thought
his
it was
refrigerator.
I'm waiting to find out about this head.
Stephen McDaniels is a weird dude. The other guy, Grant Amato, is really strange too. I should do those. I should do those cases sometime. We can watch the interrogation videos of them. Those are insane, very crazy interrogations.
Fuck, that
He
was
was
what
telling
you
me
were
about
worried
somebody he killed 13 years ago and 2 years ago, and it turned out to be another 4 or 5 before we finally got to the head. But I went back in with the whole.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's not a video presentation, but Patrick Kennedy was such a great storyteller. I literally could sit and listen to this guy forever. And like I said, it's really sad that he passed away because I would have loved to hear more about that. And, with the recent Netflix series, it would have been really nice to have his, take in that too. I just really love listening to this guy talk, and he's just very knowledgeable, and having that firsthand account was really great.
New attitude about the
No
interrogation.
shit. Wow.
And did you find yourself liking him at all? I'm sure it's different to actually talk to somebody than it is to hear.
Me
about
too.
him.
I do.
Well, like I said in the movie to Chris, who really got a lot out of me. I'm talking more about it now, but 20 years ago, I wouldn't have liked this.
Right.
When you spend 6 weeks with somebody, 10, 12 hours a day, you have breakfast with them, lunch with them. I form. Detectives are trained to build rapport, to form a relationship. But I kind of. He was a pathetic fuck. Okay, he could not. he couldn't make an emotional connection with anybody.
No.
I even asked him one time, I said, why didn't you just get a boyfriend? Why, you know, why did you have to kill everybody? And to me, he was just this really pathetic human being who on the other side
No, Dr. Bob.
had this obsession with this constant pursuit of this hedonistic, pleasurable lifestyle where he lived in an area, all of his money went towards alcohol and the pursuit of pleasure sexually and his drugs. I mean, that was his whole reason for living. So he was a very, and as a lover, the people that we talk, he was a very selfish lover. I mean, he was a giver, not a taker. And
a giver, not a taker, selfish or selfless?
Selfish lover. If you're homosexual and you're selfish,
you're giving.
Okay. You
got it with the hand motion.
You're the train. You're the train, not the tunnel, as they say. Oh, okay.
Dude, I gotta ask you, because obviously we're running out of time, but I gotta ask you, based on what you just said about building a rapport and everything, how did you feel when he was killed? Did you?
Everybody asks that. And to tell you the truth, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I felt really shitty about it.
Did you?
To tell you the truth, I'm a Catholic and I'm against capital punishment, and I felt sorry for the guy. I mean, he was such a pathetic individual. And like I told Chris in his movie, I felt bad that I felt bad for him. I mean, it made me, I remember thinking, what is there about me that connected with this freak that I feel so bad about?
Make you question yourself.
How did you hear it? Somebody called you or you were in the news?
Yeah, I walked into, by that time I had been day shift. Actually, the Dahmer thing kind of helped my career a little bit. I finally got off the late shift and got to the day shift. And the captain called me over. He was on the phone with the correctional facility when he was murdered. They called right away. And so I walked in. It was the same thing. I walked in. I took my coat off. He goes, "Hey, Kennedy, they killed your boy."
Your boy.
And I said, "What are you talking about?" And I got on the phone with the guy there and told me what happened. So,
now, how long had it been since you had any contact with him, since the professional aspect of it, the questioning and everything of the trial?
Last time I talked to him was when he was sentenced to 956 years in prison, and I shook his hand as he went off to jail.
And that was it.
And he had requested to talk to me a couple of times, but I didn't really want to anymore after that.
Yeah.
And what happened was my partner, Dennis Murphy, went up to the correctional institution where he was at for another homicide. People in jail are always saying, "We'll give you some information if you can get me out." So he was up there talking to somebody, and he went to visit Jeff. And he told me that Jeff had put on 35 pounds and had gone from a very straight acting gay male, to a stereotypical, almost flamboyant one.
Wow.
And told him that he is requested to get out of segregation because for the 3.5 years he was there, they kept him in a 9x12 windowless cell 23 hours a day. And only 1 hour a day he was put like in a room where it was open to the sky so you could see the fresh air by himself. And he told Dennis, he goes, "I'm going crazy here. I can't take it, just to be locked like with no communication." And he even said, "I know that when I get put in the general population, they'll kill me." And it was within 3 months that he was put in the general population.
Oh, no one knows
that he was murdered.
No kidding.
But it really upset you when he was killed. Like,
well, I don't like to say upset like I'm some kind of a pussy.
No.
I mean,
But
I love this guy.
but you talk about the documentary. It was really interesting.
I was supposed to go to class that night because I was going on to get my graduate degree because I wanted to get out of the police department. I was frying being a homicide detective. And I turned around and went back home and went to my little apartment, just sat there by myself. And I don't know. It was another one of those things where I felt bad about feeling bad.
No shit. Yeah.
So,
no one thinks you're a pussy. You're a 6'7" homicide detective.
There's
No
nothing
one's
worse than a
mistaking you.
6'7" pussy homicide detective.
What was your first inkling that this was a massive case? By the way?
When I saw the head.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been other situations, but where you realize, holy fuck, this is going to be an international story. That's what I mean.
No, I really didn't think it would be an international. So
No.
I was surprised the next day when I came into work, and there was literally a media circus right outside the police. So I knew instinctively that you didn't want to fuck this case up, right? You had to do it right. So,
so it's interesting that he says that, and let's go back to, let's talk about Idaho for a second. Like you said, you don't want to screw this case up. You have to do everything by the book. That's why a lot of information in that case is being held from us right now. And I've said this all along. I said this weeks ago. Why would you want to play all your cards and put all the information out there for the defense to have? If you feel that you have your right man, you have the right person, you're the right suspect, then why would you put everything out there for the media to report and get back to the defense so they could defend that? Obviously, they get to look at the same evidence and defend that, but you don't want this getting screwed up in the public. And that's why that gag order has been put on. So AZ, the only reason it was timed out, I thought that you were causing a little bit of trouble in the chat, and I do apologize. So you are here, and we just try to keep respectful. We understand that people like to joke around and stuff like that. So we welcome everybody here, but we just want to keep a clean chat and not be disrespectful towards anybody. So all good.
Yeah, and I was young, I was energetic, it was exciting, it was a good time, when you're in your 30s and you're doing what you've been trying to do. So I can honestly say for those 6 weeks, I poured everything.
That's a career case right there.
It was. So I knew it would make or break.
Did you chase that high afterwards? Like another case that was high profile? What was the second? Oh, no. What was the second case?
We found a finger in a garage.
Well, I could tell you that during this time, anybody that, we got reports all the time. There's bones over here. And I mean, they're always, ribs, rib bones and chicken bones. And, but they didn't check it all out.
That was it for you, though. You knew that was going to be
the day that he got sent to jail. The next day, I got put to the late shift, and that night I got another homicide. So I mean, it was a very busy year for us that year, and so I really didn't have time to think about it or process it. They just went back to work.
I'm sorry for my interruption. They're telling us you have to go because you have press. It's your guys. I want to properly promote this.
Absolutely.
I have one more question too.
Talk to the guy who made this film, man.
We'll watch the film.
The film is really good. I'm sure he's, it was really, but this is fascinating. You were there. It's called the Jeffrey Dahmer Files. It opens February the 15th. We'll, of course, Twitter it. Select theatrical beginning is at the IFC Center here in New York. Cable video on demand platforms. You can grab it on Comcast, Cox, Cablevision, Time Warner, Satellite TV, DirecTV, iTunes, Xbox, SundanceNow.com. And go to jeffthemovie.com. It's fascinating. And you can tell by listening to this, we literally we would have sat here with you till fucking 11 o'clock.
We want to talk to the detective about it. He's telling interesting stories. I want to hear what the fucking f-stop of the camera was.
I have one more.
It's really exciting.
I have one question for Pat. There was one particular, Patrick, whatever you prefer. There was one thing about a boy escaped Dahmer's apartment, went to two cops. They didn't know what was happening. They sent this kid back, and Dahmer murdered him immediately. It was obviously a tremendous mistake. Did you know the cops that happened to?
Yes, and actually, in the middle of the interrogation, when he told me about this one, I said, "Time out. Are you trying to tell me that two Milwaukee police officers walked this kid back there?" So I took a break. I went and told, I didn't talk to any bosses right away. I went and got on the phone to the 3rd District, and I said, could you check back to July? Because he was uncanny about dates of his victims. Uncanny, like most serial killers are. But they said, a squad got sent to check for a naked Asian male off 25th and State. I said, find out who those guys are. They told me, and I said, wake them up and tell them to get down here. Within half hour, they were there, and I told them, and they were both like just crestfallen.
Pretty much sent a man to his death.
Well,
I know it's more complex
time to talk
that.
about it, but
yes.
And these were good men. I mean, both of them I saw them put their life on the line. One guy was in a shootout with a guy who killed a cop. I mean, these were courageous young Christian males, I would think they would say. But in the situation that they got in, when they were surrounded by a people of color, the only other person that they really believed was the other white male. And kind of that's what I teach now in college. It's a thing called the police complex that anybody can get. And like I say, it's a lot longer to get into it, and I hate to leave it like this because these are two fine gentlemen. But did they make a mistake? Oh, hell yeah, they made a hell of a mistake.
You were fascinating, Pat.
You know what the odd thing is, though? If perhaps those officers in the car would have had the proper handcuff key,
he would have
gone away again.
He would have got away again because this guy did not want. He was embarrassing for him. He did not want to press charges.
So it's another case that might have just ended up with more dead people.
There's at least 6 or 7 pivotal times throughout his murderous career where authority figures had him and he was able to fool them. I'm talking about public psychologists, probation parole officers, judges, the building superintendent, and his own father.
Wow.
Who saw the bones of dead people and believed what Jeff told him, that they were the bones of a dog that he had found.
This is fascinating
Dude,
stuff.
we
I
knew
gotta
this
come
would
back.
be
I am seeing
amazing.
Gotta come back.
Your interview was so
It's-
good. Thank
is
you for coming too.
It's on.
Whoever
it's
you
on
are.
demand?
But no, it's just it's hard to top the detective who talked to Dahmer. I mean, the film was well done. I'll say that. It was excellent, and it kept me from the beginning to the end.
I'm always looking for great video on demand stuff, and this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going home and watching this
JeffTheMovie.com to get all the
Night.
information you
Thank
need,
you.
and just a genuine.
Can I make a
pleasure.
shameless plug?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Because I worked with Chris, he's the one who told me you got to write a book about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last year, I just completed a book that starts with the day I find the head in the refrigerator and ends the day I shake his hand.
Wow.
And kind of tells what happened to me personally. I mean, I ended up getting a divorce out of the deal.
Wow. It's called More Than a Head.
So I'm actually
catch.
looking for a publisher to take a look at it.
Yeah. Oh man, who wouldn't pick that up in a second?
Well,
it's fantastic.
You're unknown, and everybody's got a book, they say.
And you really believe you got divorced because of Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh no, I mean divorce. That was a big thing. My wife was the day it came. I didn't get home for like 24 hours, and when I got home, she was sitting. We were having problems anyway, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
So at the end of it, you say special thanks to Jeffrey Dahmer.
would you explain in detail to other people about this case? Or would you...
Oh yeah, I've done it many times.
I mean, during the case.
Oh no, we're under gag order. We're not allowed to.
So
talk to
even your
anybody.
wife, you wouldn't be like, so the
She
fucking
didn't. Well, that
head
was the
over
problem.
here.
She didn't want to talk about it.
Oh,
she
she
didn't
didn't.
want to
Okay.
talk about with the kids.
Right,
she
right.
also were taking the kids out of the house for those 6 weeks. I was alone
gotcha.
quite a bit.
Oh man.
No, homicide detectives alone, just not a good thing.
You watch First 48?
No, I can't watch any of that crap.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I watch it and it's like, why do these guys talk? You could tell that the cops are pissed off when they lawyer up. So do what pisses the cops off.
No matter how much lawyering up you do, Black Skull in the refrigerator does not get explained away.
Trump, all that shit.
We
every time.
got to get them together. They have television.
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Love it.
Right on.
Thank you so much.
All right. So that was a really great segment from the Opie and Anthony show back in 2013. Detective Pat Kennedy was the actual arresting officer and got the confession out of Dahmer. So really great segment there. A lot of firsthand knowledge of what happened that night, what happened up in those few weeks. And I would encourage you to go watch the Jeffrey Dahmer Files. It's a documentary, and Pat Kennedy is in that documentary, and it's all real, real world stuff. It's not like a Netflix series, but it's a really great docu. Jeffrey Dahmer was killed in prison, and not much. I think it was only in there about 90 days, and they got him. Some guy got him with a broom handle, I believe. I think some guy cornered him and got him. Let me see. On November 28th, 1994, Dahmer was beaten to death by Christopher Scarvey, a fellow inmate at a Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. So, a lot of the times things will happen like that to elevate that inmate, to elevate his status. So they'll pick someone that is famous to elevate their status and kind of go after them. So, so what I want to play next, because maybe we'll do about a 2-hour show tonight. I'm going to play the actual courtroom footage of Patrick Kennedy. I thought I was going to get to a lot more segments tonight, but I don't think we're going to get there. But let me pull up the actual courtroom footage of when he was in court.
Solemnly swear all the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Please be seated, sir.
And that's
And then would you
Pat
state your
Kennedy
name and
back
spell
in the
your last
day,
name, please?
very young.
Patrick Kennedy.
You want me to do the confessions? It would be the sentencing, correct? But I think it's or I have the we could do what do you guys want to do? I have the victim impact statements, or I can play the sentencing. That's the videos I have queued up. Let me know in the comments, so we can do victim impact statements or the sentencing. Let me know, and then we'll move on. We got about a half an hour left with the show. Either or, okay. Okay, let me let's play. We'll do this. How about we do like half and half? We'll listen to some of this, the impact statements, and then we'll play the sentencing. Let's do this one. Uh-oh, you got a commercial.
All right. Hearing for the court claims 33 of Milwaukee County Zone 7. The Orange Street Grand Jury presiding. Silence is commanded. You may be seated.
We're missing, oh no, okay, we're set. I looked the wrong direction for you. Okay, why don't you call the case so we can make a record of who's here?
Case number F912542, State of Wisconsin versus Jeffrey L. Dahmer.
Appearances for the record, please.
Michael McCann, District Attorney in Milwaukee County, appearing for the state of Wisconsin. With me at council table.
Okay, I'm a J.W. Smith, brother of Edward Warren Smith. Okay. Go ahead, sir. So you can give a copy of this to Judge Graham. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, sir, you've handed the bailiff a written statement, and you're going to read from that statement. Is that correct? Go ahead, sir. Our parents, Walter and Josephine Smith, were two hardworking Americans who raised 13 children. Of the survivors, I've been selected to express a statement of each one's personal pain. Joseph Patrick. Edward is gone, and I find comfort in these words. Whosoever believeth in me shall never die. Michael Fitzgerald. I'm sure Edward was a friend to Jeffrey Dahmer, as he was to us who knew him well. I have these pictures in my mind that are running continuously. How can anyone comprehend or come to accept that never again in this life will Edward be? Ernest Richard. The death of Eddie has shown me the injustices in the world today. John Andrew. Jeffrey Dahmer has erased 1 million future memories for me of my closest brother. Teresa. I need to tell my brother that I love him, and it hurts thinking about what he could have become. Henry Gale. I will never get over the effects that Jeffrey Dahmer has placed in my mind and forever imprinted in my life. May God send Eddie's soul to rest in peace. Carolyn Ann. Jeffrey Dahmer took away my best friend, my better half, my roommate. He took away the laughter. His biggest dream was to be a model, and I hope that one day I can fulfill his dream of being a queen-size model and keep people laughing as much as he did. Robert Esther. I miss you, Edward, and I love you. And maybe now you can finally be at rest. James Willie, myself.
Thank you,
Our dad
Nancy.
is gone,
Appreciate you.
And now so are you. I never had the chance to say goodbye to either of you. Dad taught us to love and accept each other and expect that, well, excuse me, I lost my place here. For they, no, let's see. Dad taught us to love and accept each person for who they are. You were unique and I loved you. Mia, I wanted to see justice done, and no dollar amount can bring my brother back. If you feel any remorse, let's change the Son of Sam law to Jeffrey Dahmer law. Walter Lewis. It is hard to conceive that a person could take another's life. Ed belonged to someone. How can you fix what is broken, replace what is lost? Maureen. It is easy for me to forgive the sin done to my brother, Ed. But to forget, I cannot. I find each day an inward struggle, but in my faith, I find comfort. Josephine Helen, our mother. This is a terrible tragedy to my family, but I still have 12 children to live for, and in them, hopefully, I will overcome it. Let me tell you briefly about Edward Warren Smith on a more personal level. Ed was raised in a Christian home in Brookfield, where he learned how to be a loving, trusting, respectful human being. Eddie inherited all the blessings that a family structure had to offer. The greatest of these blessings was love. Eddie's style of life and dress was uniquely flamboyant. He was intelligent, witty, compassionate toward the human race. At the time Eddie's life was taken from him, he was searching for his place amongst you and me. Although we have tried, it is impossible to summarize 27 years of this young man's life in 5 minutes. Perhaps it can best be said in St. John chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Edward Warren Smith tried to be Jeffrey Dahmer's friend. As a result, he lost his life. Mr. Dahmer, Eddie's gone now, the victim of your senseless killing. Where do we go from here? We ask ourselves. Why did this happen to a person like Eddie? He gave so much and asked so little. All he wanted was a chance to be himself, a chance to be happy. When all the facts are known, we hope that society will have gained some knowledge that will help prevent a tragedy such as the one Eddie suffered. There was no sacrifice too large or too small for Eddie. He truly loved giving and gave of himself abundantly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I remember this one lady that has her impact statement and she literally loses control and she's like, I hate you, Jeffrey Dahmer, or Jeffrey. I remember that, and I remember seeing that on the news. We speed up to the next impact statement.
And I've been given this opportunity to come before you on behalf of the Miller family. We want to say that there's no place in a civilized society for anyone who shows no regards for life, especially in the form and manner that Jeffrey Dahmer has shown. We can't afford to have anyone preying nor stalking our people, no matter what our difference may be. How can we as a civilized people accept the responsibility of ever considering putting someone of this nature back into society?
Yeah, it was
we ask
easy.
that you see fit to give Jeffrey Dahmer the maximum sentence. To Jeffrey Dahmer, you have become a hero to a few, but you have become a nightmare to so many more. That's including myself. Before I settle in for the night, I find myself looking in closets, under beds, anywhere that you may be found. Jeffrey Dahmer, due to your actions, this has caused my family a great deal of pain and emotional distress. Jeffrey Dahmer, through your selfish actions, you have caused my family to suffer the loss of society and companionship of Ernest. This was done without any cause or provocation on the part of Ernest, despite the fact that you had the knives, the saws, the bats, the acid, the drills, and possibly a gun. Even while he was in a semi-conscious state of mind, you didn't give him the chance to fight for his life. You took his life like a thief in the night by cutting his throat. Rather than facing him and let him fight for the thing that he felt most dear, you took the coward way out. Did you ever stop to think that this is someone's son? Did you ever stop to think that this is someone's brother, nephew, uncle, cousin, grandson, or just someone's friend?
Stone-faced.
That's missing him dearly. Jeffrey Dahmer, just a couple of things about Ernest that you didn't take the time out to find out. First, Ernest was a dancer. This came naturally, and this was his dream, all through his short-lived life. Second, he had a family that loved him. He has a niece now that's 4 months old that he'll never get to hold or play or just watch grow up. He'll have to look from heaven now. I hope that you live a long life so that one day you can appreciate life. On that day, you would know my family's suffering. Furthermore, fortunate for you, Wisconsin doesn't ask you for what you have taken, but then you can only give once. I'm not for the death penalty, but you are a perfect candidate. To Mr. Boyle, first to you, I want to say thank you for not laying any of the blame on the victims. You didn't fail, it's just that God take care of his people. Truth shall always stand. The verdict was appropriate and absolute. Third, you and your staff had a job to do, and you did it well, and we respect that. To Mr. McCann, Thank you for fighting the battle that Ernest couldn't fight for himself. As we sat back and fought the battle of faith, you taught us all a lesson on responsibility that we'll never forget. You and your staff has my family deepest respect. To the Dahmer family, I know that there are some dark days for your family, but the morning will come. So look to the hills, and you will make it through.
Thank you, sir. Again, ma'am, would you first identify yourself, please?
My name is Shirley Hughes,
I don't think it's this victim that has the outburst.
and I'm Tony Anthony Hughes' mother. First of all, thank God and to give thanks to the judge and to Mr. McCann for the verdict that came in. I would like to say to Jeffrey Dahmer that he don't know the pain, the hurt, the loss, and the mental state that he had put our family in. But I'd just like to read a poem that a good friend of my son wrote. Tony thought you was his friend. He knew you. Why am I a victim in your cruel and rueful world? Although I can't communicate with a loud voice. Listen to me anyway. Try to have mercy on my moans. Look at the tears roll down my face. See that each one is a cry for help. And realize my sign of showing you that I want to live. Tell me just what is it that I've done to you to make you such a monster, to make you such a maniac, to make you such a devil. My God, who are you? What are you? You have never shown me this side of you. I put my trust in you. I thought you were my friend until the end, yet I didn't know you as well as I thought. I never felt the end would be this way. Is there anyone that can help me? Mom, dad, sister, brother, someone, please help me. What's happening to me? Everything seems to be slowing down. I'm confused, I'm drowsy. My coordination have been contaminated. My friend, what is it that you've given me? What is it that you're doing to me? I'm helpless. Is that a thrill to you to know that I can't fight you back? And that the hardest struggle in my life is fighting to keep my eyes open with the hope of seeing the dawn of a new day. Yet you have total control over me. My life is in the hands of once a friend, but now a total
I
stranger.
think she's the next victim.
Who have become
We'll
my
play
worst
that and then
nightmare.
we'll play the sentencing.
But one day I know you'll get caught. You think you're smooth at what you're doing. Remember, whatever's done in the dark, it will come to the light, and the whole world will know just how ugly a person you really are. Mom, I'm gone. My hope, my breath, my want to live have been taken away from me unwillingly and emotionally. I know that there's a dragon piercing your heart day and night because of this, but yet I'm not far away. When you get cold, I wrap my arms around you to warm you. If you get sad, I'll softly grab your heart and cheer you up. If you smile, I'll smile right along with you. And when you're happy, I'll know it because you're thinking that 2 fingers and 1 thumb means I love you in sign language. My son was deaf. When you cry, take 1 teardrop and place it outside your window ledge. And when I pass by, I'll exchange it for one of mine. 2 fingers and 1 thumb, Mom.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, would you first identify?
Is it this lady that has the outburst? I can't remember. Is it this lady? No. Not her. Oh, I got it. It's this lady with the jacket. I remember. Okay, let's play this. No, I'm not trying to disrespect any of the victims here, but I do want to play the sentencing, and this is really the one that I wanted to show tonight. So we'll speed up, and then we'll play a little bit of the sentencing when Jeffrey talks.
I don't even need a microphone. My name is Rita Isbell.
No, ma'am. You'll address the court from.
My name is Rita Isbell, and I'm the oldest sister of Errol Lindsay. Whatever your name is, Satan. I'm mad. This is how you act when you are out of control. I don't want to ever see my mother have to go through this again. Never, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I hate you, mother. I hate you. This is out of control. Don't Jeffrey, I kill you. God damn it. Look at me, motherfucker. I can kill you.
What's your name, sir?
I can kill you. You don't have to look.
Take it easy, sorry.
Powerful.
Wisconsin, 1 penny for the presentation of the defense in this matter.
That's raw emotion there. That's very, very painful to watch. Wow. Yeah, I agree. I don't want that feeling ever. Ever. We need one more upvote. One more upvote to give away a free gift card. I just need one person. There it is. We got the 50. We got the 50. We got 50. We got 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a card again. Now, I have to explain because there's different people here again. The way that we're going to do this is I have another $10 Target gift card to give away. The rules are this. If you do not want me to get your address, then do not participate. I'm going to pick out a card. I'm going to hold it close to my chest, and you guys will just keep rattling off cards until someone gets it. If that person gets it, what I'll have them do is email me at theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com. I will verify their screen name. I'll have them do a little thing on to verify their screen name. And then once they do that, they need to send me their address, and I will get this mailed out to them tomorrow. So I'm going to shuffle the deck here. And again, if you don't want to give me your home address or somewhere this can be sent, don't participate because you might take it away from someone else. All right, I'm going to pick a card here. All right, let's see. I have picked the card. You guys can start guessing now. You can start guessing the card now, and the winning card will get a gift card, $10 gift card. Nope, keep going. We still don't have a winner. We still don't have a winner. We still don't have a winner. Keep going. We have a winner. Stop. We have a winner. Stop. We have a winner. Wow, that one went quick. All right. And the winner is ready? Queen of Spades. Christine Brown won. Congratulations. I'm writing your name. All right, Christine, if you just email me at theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com, I will just have you do a small task to verify who you are, and then I'll just have you send me your address, and I'll get this out hopefully to you tomorrow. Okay, let's move on with the rest of the show here. We'll play a little bit of the Jeffrey Dahmer sentencing, and then we're going to wrap this up probably at about 10:30-ish. So about 20
I'm going to be
minutes.
eating a Chipotle burrito.
Okay.
Your Honor, it is over now. This has never been a case of trying to get free. I didn't ever want freedom. Frankly, I wanted death for myself. This was a case to tell the world that I did what I did not for reasons of hate. I hated no one. I knew I was sick or evil or both. Now I believe I was sick. The doctors have told me about my sickness, and now I have some peace. I know how much harm I have caused. I tried to do the best I could after the arrest to make amends, but no matter what I did, I could not undo the terrible harm I have caused. My attempt to help identify the remains was the best that I could do, and that was hardly anything. I feel so bad for what I did to those poor families, and I understand their rightful hate. I know I will be in prison for the rest of my life. I know that I will have to turn to God to help me get through each day. I should have stayed with God. I tried and failed and created a holocaust. Thank God there will be no more harm that I can do. I believe that only the Lord Jesus Christ can save me from my sins. I have instructed Mr. Boyle to end this matter. I do not want to contest the civil case. I've told Mr. Boyle to try and finalize them if he can. If there is ever any money, I want it to go to the victims' families. I've talked to Mr. Boyle about other things that might help ease my conscience in some way of coming up with ideas on how to make some amends to these families, and I will work with him on that. I want to return to Ohio and quickly end that matter so that I can put all of this behind me and then come right back here to do my sentence. I decided to go through this trial for a number of reasons. One of the reasons was to let the world know that these were not hate crimes. I wanted the world in Milwaukee, which I deeply hurt, to know the truth of what I did. I didn't want unanswered questions. All the questions have now been answered. I wanted to find out just what it was that caused me to be so bad and evil. But most of all, Mr. Boyle and I decided that maybe there was a way for us to tell the world that if there are people out there with these disorders, maybe they can get some help before they end up being hurt or hurting someone. I think the trial did that. I take all the blame for what I did. I hurt many people. The judge in my earlier case tried to help me, and I refused his help, and he got hurt by what I did. I hurt those policemen in the Conorak matter, and I shall ever regret causing them to lose their jobs. And I hope and pray that they can get their jobs back because I know they did their best, and I just plain fooled them. For that, I am so sorry. I know I hurt my probation officer, who was really trying to help me. I am so sorry for that, and sorry for everyone else that I have hurt. I have hurt my mother and father and stepmother. I love them all so very much. I hope that they will find the same peace I am looking for. Mr. Boyle's associates, Wendy and Ellen, have been wonderful to me, helping me through this worst of all times. I want to publicly thank Mr. Boyle. He didn't need to take this case.
I agree.
But when I asked him to help me find the answers and to help others, if I could, he stayed with me and went way overboard in trying to help me. Mr. Boyle and I agreed that it was never a matter of trying to get off. It was only a matter of which place I would be housed the rest of my life, not for my comfort, but for trying to study me in the hopes of helping me and learning to help others who might have problems. I know I will be in prison. I pledge to talk to doctors who might be able to find some answers. In closing, I just want to say that I hope God has forgiven me.
Yeah, I want to just pause this again really quick, and I want to just give some context to everybody here in the chat. Look, I understand that Idaho is a huge case right now. It's a topic of conversation. It's a lot of things that go on surrounding that case. Everybody has their own theories, opinions. But I can't do an entire channel about Idaho, because when that case is settled, where do you go from there? You have to talk about other things. Now, I wanted to go back to Dahmer this evening and just try, some different things here. I know Stephen Smith is now current And there's a lot of current cases that are coming up. We're probably going to talk about some of that, but I want to let you guys know, like, I have to produce a show 3 nights a week. If I do all Idaho content, you guys are going to get bored with that. And we still have a long way to go until June, and we have no idea what's going to happen. So, what I'm doing is, I have to run a show, so I have to do different material. And like I said, people will come and go. People will choose the topics that they want to watch, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm gonna keep going on with different shows. Christine's saying, let's see. Hey Brian, can you do me a favor and run the game one more time before the end of the stream? I will forfeit my gift card. Okay, not a problem. Why don't we do that? We'll just do it right now. I appreciate you doing that. Let me. Okay. Well, let's do this. I have another $10 gift card here. Christine's been nice enough to forfeit it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the deck of cards again. And again, the way the game is played is this. If you want to participate in the game, you have to give me an address somewhere where this needs to be sent. So if you don't want your address given to me, please don't give me your address. If you want to participate and if you want to participate, then you need to, give me your address. What we'll do is I'll have you email me if you win, and then I'll do a small verification, and then I just ask for your address, and we'll get this sent out hopefully tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is just kind of shuffle these up a little bit. I'm going to pull a card, and right when I start pulling a card, anybody that wants to participate can do so. Just start putting your pick cards in the chat, and then we'll keep going until we have a winner. All right, go. Nope, keep going. Want music? We'll play a little music. Still no winner. Nope, still no winner. Nope, still no winner. Keep going. Nope, keep going. Oh, stop. We got a winner. We got a winner. We got a winner, chicken dinner. Stop. I'm just going to go up and verify, and then I will let everybody know who won. Stop. Okay, we have a winner, and the winner is dun 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 dun. Do we have any of that type of music? Maybe I do. Hang on. Oh, I do have something I can play, and the winner is. Oh, I just lost. I had it queued up and I freaking lost it. Hang on. Oh no! I was trying to time it perfect. All right, the winner is. Oh shit! Where is it? All right, it's the 10 of clubs. That was Candy. I was going to try to pull it up on the screen, but Candy got it. 10 of clubs. Congratulations. Great job. I totally screwed that up. I was trying to time the sound at the same time. But congratulations. Candy, just email me. And we'll get you verified. Opinionatedidiot@gmail.com. gmail.com. theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com. And we'll get this Target gift card off to you. All right, let's keep playing through this. We got a couple more minutes to the show, and then we're going to wrap this puppy up, and we'll be back on Thursday with more Idaho, because that's everybody wants to watch Idaho.
Me. I know society will never be able to forgive me. I know the families of the victims will never be able to forgive me for what I have done. I promise I will pray each day to ask for their forgiveness when the hurt goes away, if ever. I have seen their tears.
It's your birthday?
If I could give my life right now to bring their loved ones back.
Is it really your birthday? Did you just say it was your birthday? Everybody's got birthdays coming up. Idaho, yeah, Idaho. Is it really your birthday? Oh, there's a lot to talk about, believe me. On my last video, there's been a lot of comments, so we're going to bring all those up. I'm going to not... Well, they're public comments, so maybe we'll just pull the public comments up because everybody's written on there. It's public, but we'll pull those up. And we're going to go through all that on Thursday. So we got a lot to talk about in Idaho on Thursday.
Back, I would do it. I am so very sorry. Your Honor, I know that you are about to sentence me. I ask for no consideration. I want you to know that I've been treated perfectly by the deputies who have been in your court and the deputies who work the jail. The deputies have treated me very professionally, and I want everyone to know that. They have not given me special treatment. Here is a trustworthy saying that deserves full acceptance. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of who I am the worst. But for that very reason I was shown mercy, so that in me, the worst of sinners, Christ Jesus might display his unlimited patience as an example for those who would believe in him and receive eternal life. Now to the King eternal, immortal, invisible, the only God, be honor and glory forever and ever. I know my time in prison will be terrible, but I deserve whatever I get because of what I have done.
I don't think so.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I am prepared for your sentence, which I know will be the maximum. I ask for no consideration.
I think he knew that. I think he knew he was just completely caught. I think he is more upset that he got caught, because if you go back to the interview, the first interview that I played with Inside Edition, and I forget her name, but she asked him, would you be still doing this if you didn't get caught? He said, absolutely. So he's pissed that he got caught. And I think that he's just kind of running through the motions, and he knows that he's completely defeated at this time. There's nowhere else to go. His impending doom is now life in prison. So that's how I kind of feel about it.
There is nothing else in the defense relative to this matter, Your Honor. Thank you.
It now becomes the duty of the court to impose sentence in this case. And one of my obligations to set forth on the record the basis for the sentence imposed.
We can do that.
In doing that, I'm required to consider the seriousness of the offenses.
Sure, we can do that. We can, I think that's a good idea. Maybe we'll do like Tuesday nights or something like that. We'll do Tuesday night serial killer night or something like that. And I can start a series. And we'll just do a little kind of go back in time and look at those cases. We'll try to dig up as much video footage about that. That's a really good, that's a good idea. Thank you. If you guys want that kind of
needs of the community for
that.
protection from the defendant.
I just want to make it, I want to make it open here that I'm here to serve you guys. I don't want to do content that you're not interested in. So if those are things that you like and you want me to do here, we can do that. I want to entertain you. I don't want to just do something that I feel is entertaining. I want to make sure that you guys are into that. So if you guys want to do like serial killer Tuesdays, we can do that and look at some past serial killers and we'll make a series out of it. I think that's a really great idea. If you like that content, we'll do that and we'll come in and we'll talk about it and we'll kind of do this free open platform like that. I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah, we can do missing persons. Absolutely. You can do anything that you guys are interested in because I want to serve you as my subscribers. I don't want to do stuff here that you don't want to talk about. And I don't want to do things here if you're not interested in it. But I think that's a really, really great idea. So we'll start a series like Serial Killer Tuesdays. A little weird name, but we'll do that. And I think it'd be a great idea. I think Wild Cherry came up with a fantastic idea. If this is something that you guys are interested in, and then just let me know. If you're getting bored of it, let me know, and we'll move on and do something else. But that's really cool. It's a great idea. Great idea.
As well as the needs
I'll write that
of the
down.
defendant. In doing this, there are some observations that I would like to make.
All right, real quick, I'm just going to recognize Wild Cherry has become a new member of the Opinionated Idiot Army. Let's give her the tone.
I got you, homie.
All right. Thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting the channel. Did I miss someone else? We have Victor. Is it Victorine? I think I said it right. Victorine has become a supporting member of the channel.
I got you, homie.
Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It means a lot. It helps out a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you guys do. Let's hear a little bit more of the sentencing, and then we'll move on. And I love this.
Spent 3 weeks listening.
Serial Killer Tuesday.
And now it's my time to say a few things. One of the things is that real people have been involved in this case and have been affected by it. I thought, the first family statement that I got, which went down and said a little bit about the feelings of each of the family members, I think conveyed that it's real people that have been affected by the crimes that have been committed here. And that doesn't go to just one family, it goes to all the families. But I thought that one was particularly stood out in my mind with the way it was done. However, the victims' families are not the only real people involved in this case. There's the defendant's family. And, this is a court that handles criminal matters on a regular basis. Right now, we're designated as a violent crime court, so it's not unusual for us to see not just the families of victims, but also the families of defendant. And time and time again, you see a situation where the defendant comes from a good family, but committed a horrible crime. We must sentence the defendant for committing that crime, knowing full well that the family of the defendant will also be adversely affected and perhaps did nothing for which they should be hurt any more than the victims' families did anything for which they should be hurt. A number of you have heard me use the expression before. I wish I had that magic button that I could put things back in place. But I don't have the power to bring people back to life. That's in the hands of somebody else. I can't change what's happened. What I have to do is acknowledge the facts as they are and proceed to a meaningful sentence. We heard a great deal of talk in this case about mental disease. The jury found that a mental disease did not exist. I think correctly so. What I noticed is that many of the participants, including both lawyers, had difficulty using mental disease as a term separate from mental illness. Many times those terms were, I think, unconsciously used interchangeably. Mental disease is...
This is very interesting. This, what the judge is talking about here is very, very interesting.
A word of art, a legal word of art, defined in the statute book. Some mental conditions or mental illness, by definition, do not constitute a mental disease. And had it become necessary for the court to rule, it would be the ruling of this court that a paraphilia, as a matter of definition, is not a mental disease, as that term is defined in our statutes. One of the things that was particularly significant to me when we had our psychiatric and psychological experts on the stand, and they were talking about, was it DSM-3R, that thick book that we had, was that when this term paraphilia was coined, it was coined to replace sexual deviant. And it was done so because they were carving out from the definition homosexuality, because there had been a change in public attitude in regard to that particular situation. It seems to me that in doing so, what the people defining the term were trying to do, not necessarily that they were trying to conform to Wisconsin law, but they were trying to create a term that fits that exception that we have in our statute, which says that an abnormality manifested only by repeated criminal or otherwise antisocial conduct does not constitute a mental disease. You see, what the statute's doing is taking some things that constitute a mental condition and say, as we use the term mental disease, that's not included within that language.
A little different how we look at things now, huh?
I say that because I think I owe it to my profession, having heard all the testimony that I've heard, to set forth on the record what my views are as far as that particular situation is concerned. It never became necessary for me specifically to rule on it.
Quick question for you. Did you know you should have a healthy bowel movement at least once every single day?
Thank you for telling me
According
that.
to the Mayo Clinic.
As to the seriousness of the offense, I've listened to the testimony the way everybody else has listened to the testimony, the way our 14 jurors listened to the testimony, and I too have a view of what's going on, or what was going on as far as Mr. Dahmer is concerned. First of all, every witness that examined him told us he was an intelligent man, probably superior intelligence. I agreed that he used that intelligence to manipulate people. I don't think there's any question about it. I believe what we had was a homosexual who could not accept the fact that he was a homosexual. That he from time to time involved himself in homosexual activities, and there was never a problem in a situation that he could walk away from and remain, in effect, anonymous. But once he brought somebody to his home.
I just want to address this comment. So it says, still shocked that you know who Converges, Brian. Overcast was a local band I grew up with. Kingpin, Fugazi was at the Worcester Artist Group. One of my favorite shows. Shelter is great live too. Yep. So I knew all of those bands. I played with all of those bands. I first used to see Brian when Brian's hair was just starting to get dreaded here, and we used to go watch them play in front of like 30 people. So I know I played in and around the Boston and Providence scene for a very long time, all up and through the 90s. I actually talked about this on my last stream. Aaron Dalbeck, I've hung out with him numerous times. Jake, numerous. I mean, this is all back in the day. I mean, they're they were friends of mine then, but we've all moved on. So I know all those guys. Kurt, I know all those guys. I think I want to remember that Aaron played guitar in a small band that we tried getting together, like a side project one time, because I played guitar. And I think way back then, if I remember, I think he came to a couple of practices. We tried getting something going with him. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Miss those days. 56. Let's see. Let's keep playing through this. But yeah, I have I can show you pictures and all the old records and stuff. I still have all that stuff. So
He could no longer remain anonymous, and therefore he was caught. There's one way to avoid that: destroy the evidence.
That's all right.
It's a vicious way to destroy the evidence. But that's my view of what was going on. In terms of what happened to these people, gosh, I was horrified. When we asked the questions in jury selection about, how you react to some of these things, fortunately, nobody gets to ask the judge that question. Nobody gets to ask the judge how you feel about horror movies, because I'll tell you what I do. I turn them off. That's one of the powers that you have when you control the television set. I
have to disagree. When I see a horror movie, I keep it on. So I have to disagree.
I can go into other things in my background that, let's talk about it. There was a time in my life that I made a living in a packing house. And I was a little squeamish in terms of dealing with animals. Gosh knows I got to be squeamish when we talk about doing some of those same things to human beings, real people. I saw Dr. Fosdale on the witness stand. Here's a physician. I don't know if any of you noticed it, but I noticed it, that he got very, very uncomfortable when he was talking about what was done to these human beings. People are looking to me to provide a measure of protection to the community, and I don't think there's only one way that protection can be provided, and that is to see that this defendant never again has the opportunity to walk the streets of our community as a free man. That's part of judicial discretion, I guess, but it really, in this case, doesn't require a whole lot of discretion. I can't imagine anybody else coming up with any other conclusion. And I think that's been acknowledged by both the defense attorney and the defendant himself. As to treatment, the needs of the defendant, that's something in what the court does in sentencing that's not within the discretion of the court, but it
Sylvia, I got stories for days.
Is within the discretion of the institution where he will be going. As I listened to the parade of psychiatric and psychological experts, I didn't hear anybody say that he was a totally normal individual.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got a commercial.
Hey, Lex, can you explain
What an
this to
odd
me?
commercial.
So this is
I think the opinion is universal that he has some significant problems, and if he can benefit, or society can benefit from treatment or study, I think that should happen within the institutional system, and there's no reason why it can't. Mr. Dahmer made reference to religion.
Sylvia, I got a surprise for you after this. Hang on.
Anybody have any idea how many defendants find religion when they come before this court for sentencing? Do they sincerely find it?
Trying to set me up.
I don't know. How do I determine that? Some of them keep that newfound sense of religion all the way till that door over there. Some keep it a lot longer. That's something between God and Mr. Dahmer. And if indeed he's found religion, I hope that he keeps it, and I hope it helps him for the rest of his life, which is going to be spent in one of our penal institutions. Mr. McCann, is it the first 2 counts on which there's a habitual? I don't have the complaint in front of me. Is that correct?
It actually attaches to all of them, Your Honor.
All counts, but only the first 2.
No, it attaches to all 15. I addressed specifically the first 2 because that would add 10 years to what would be the minimum parole release.
And on the others, I have the discretion.
It does.
It's under the
Oh my God, you're right. It
does. Clearly, it does. He falls within the habitual criminality statute, and the court makes that finding. As to count 1.
Okay, so we're gonna get all the sentencing now. We're gonna hear the 999 years.
The court will impose the mandatory life sentence plus an additional 10 years on the habitual criminality. Count 2, life imprisonment plus 10 years consecutive to count 1. Count 3, life imprisonment with the date of parole eligibility 70 years from the inception of that particular sentence. I don't have all the numbers that I can't work it out, but it'll be 70 years from the beginning of that sentence, which will be consecutive to count 2. Count 4, life imprisonment with a parole eligibility to be 70 years from the commencement of that sentence, consecutive. Where am I at on the numbers? Somebody has to
get the numbers. There's so many numbers.
What, Madam Reporter, what was the last? I should check this off on here. So last four.
And the thing is, they have to read this because it's the law. He's handing a sentence down, so he has to read this.
Last one. Okay. Count 5, life imprisonment, parole eligibility to be 70 years after.
So I do not. Hang on. I don't have a Facebook page for my channel, and I'll tell you why. Because when you do a Facebook page, I have to look into it, but it will essentially dox all of my personal information. I think there's a way that I can set up a professional one, but you have to pay for it. And I just don't have the funding for that right now. So, the best way to do this is to communicate through, just through my YouTube page. And as the channel grows, we'll get more into looking into other forms of communication. I've set up a chat on Telegram, but the channel's just not really big enough yet. But once it starts to build, we'll start implementing some of those, chat, or maybe I'll look to do a business page for the Facebook. So let's keep playing through. We'll finish this up.
To the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 4, count 6, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 5, count 7, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 6, count 8, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 7, count 9, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 8, count 10, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 9, count 11, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 10, count 12, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 11. Count 13, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 12. Count 14, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 13. Count 15, life imprisonment with parole eligibility to be 70 years after the inception of that sentence to be consecutive to count 14. Believe I have, and I intended to follow the recommendation of the state. I could have said something different, which would have had the same impact. I really see
good one.
Nobody gains anything by just to say more and more years. The important point is that the sentence is structured in such a way that this defendant will never again see freedom. That is owed to this community in order to protect the community, as well as acknowledgement of the seriousness of the offenses. Those are the reasons. The sentence, of course, is to the state prison system. One thing I didn't provide, all of these sentences are consecutive to the time he's presently serving. There are appellate rights. Mr. Boyle, you will be reviewing with your client his appellate rights.
I'd like to indicate to the court that they will be signed in proper form. The part that will be checked as required is that he is undecided. That's only to preserve the right to move it along the proper way. The final decision will be made within 20 days after we had let some settlement here. I don't anticipate there'll be an appeal. I only say that because that's what my client wanted me to say, but I still want deliberation on that decision, and I want to make that a part of the record. Lastly, Your Honor, I am required to ask the court on the record for a 10-minute contact visit with his mother, stepmother, and father, and I would ask if the court would grant that.
Are they present?
They're in some hallway. I didn't know
they're present in the building. Is what you're saying.
I understand they are. I have not seen
Any
them.
objection to that, Mr. Chairman?
I join with the request.
So ordered.
Thank you, Your Honor.
They let him meet with us.
Anything further for the court? Court's in recess.
He will go away. Well, he did go away for the rest of his life. Only made it about 3 months in prison before he was killed. I wanted to show if Sylvia's still here. Are you still here, Sylvia? Let me know in the chat. I want to pull something up for you. Steven, it's all right, buddy. You can watch the replay. I'll be back on Thursday night. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights, guys, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit that bell notification so you get notified. Is Sylvia still here? Let me see before I end this up. It's good to see you, Steve. But I want to show her something before I end the stream. So did you guys like the content tonight? We'll stick to our theme, Serial Killer Tuesdays. We'll do that going ahead. All right, Sylvia's still here. I gotta just pull this up. I'm gonna trip her out right now. Just gonna make sure my information's not doxed. Okay. There you go, Sylvia. There's me and my wild glory. Look at got my Overcast t-shirt on. So I was there and I did it. I was in it. All right, awesome, Candy. Glad you got that email, and we'll take care of it. If I get to it tonight, once I get offline, I'll email you, have you do something. We'll vet you, and then she says I'm probably in the crowd, probably. Let me see what else I got. I just want to show Sylvia a couple of pictures because her and I were in the same scene together. Let me just pull this down and pull something else up. Here's another one of me. Hang on. I just want to make sure I'm not, yeah, all right. I'm not doxing my information. Here's me again right here. Look at that young face. Jeez, man, I was so young back in the day. That's great. It was fun times. I had hair too. Look at it. I had hair. How fun is that? I had hair back then. Jeez, man. No wrinkles. I had hair. Skinny. Let me see if I can find one more. I'll give Sylvia a treat here. See what else I got. Hang on. Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Sylvia probably remembers these. Here we go. I got one more. Look at the hair. Look at the hair. It's so great. Listen, the way that I look at it, if you are going bald, guys, shave your fucking head, own up to it, be confident. Girls are gonna like you for your personality, not your fucking hair. So yeah, frosted blonde. That was the whole thing back then. Remember bleaching your hair? Remember bleaching your hair was a big thing back then. Yeah, no beard. Yeah. Everybody likes Serial Killer Tuesday. Cool. We're gonna do those going forward. I've had enough embarrassing myself showing my old self. Let's do a subscriber check count. Hang on. And we'll update the big board before we get off air. Where are we at? How many? We're almost at 2,900. We're at 2,890 right now, guys. 2,890. Let me see if I can update the board before we go off air. We're almost close to 3,000. Pretty close. We're getting there. My goal is by June, 5,000. By the end of the year, 10,000. And we're going to do this. But I just need your help to continue. We're going to update the big board. You know I love doing the big board. We're so close. Can I get the face close to the camera? I had bleach hair too. Fun show. I'll be back Thursday. Awesome. Boomer saying thank you for an awesome show. Much love from North Carolina. I love North Carolina. I want to move there. It was fun. It was a fun show. Channel's growing. Yes, it is. It's growing because of you guys. It's growing because of you guys. You guys make the channel go. So Serial Killer Tuesdays, we're going to keep with that theme. Thursday, I will be back. We're going to do Idaho again. I know if I do Idaho on Thursday, it's going to be 200 people back in the chat again. We'll get this going. Look, I had an awesome, fun show tonight. Almost to 3,000. I know. It's all of you guys. You guys make this happen. Amber's got a quick question. Hey, Brian, quick question. Do you think that he wanted to be put in general population as easy way out because he knew people would attack him? Possibly. That's a good question. I don't know. Again, those are the little things that we probably will never know. I think that at that point, looking at it, he just knew that he was completely defeated. He had been caught. There's no way to continue with his obsessions and his killings, his bloodthirst. And I think at that point, he was just completely defeated and gave up. As much as he had that impact statement, I think it was complete bullshit. I think he just wanted to say things that people wanted to hear to appease them. But I think deep down inside, he was just completely defeated and wanted a way out. So, that's going to be it. Let's see. I meant that the old intro. I'm not weird. Yeah, I stopped doing that because I got some shit about it because I know we're talking about some really serious subjects here. And to be kind of laughing and smiling in an intro, it's not appropriate. But I will have a bomb ass live show intro soon, but I'm going to keep with the other small clip intro that I have. And then I'm going to have the same guy that's working on my long intro do a small intro for me. So, okay, guys, we're going to end this. It's getting late. I have one more free day tomorrow before I go back to work. I go back to work on Thursday, but we'll go back to the regular schedule Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join us. I'll be back on Thursday. Good night, everybody. It's been fantastic. I love all you guys. Be safe. I'll see you on Thursday night. Let me hit the outro right about now.